like walk out of Sephora spending like hundreds of dollars on all of these things.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where's the money coming from?
I don't know.
Hi everyone, welcome to another series of our Grow Norm. Get ready with Norm. You have your host today, Siobhan Riley, Professor Norm, boss. You see it? We're just here to share a little tips in the skincare industry, and hopefully you'll be able to learn something new today. So if you like the content, please subscribe, share, comment. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about. Let us know anything you want to know a little bit more information on, and we'll try our best to answer any questions you may have. But today, we have a superstar. We're talking about a superstar. Angelica, that's going to be here to share a little bit more about her journey in skincare and what she's up to currently. So, again, if you like the information that we have, like, share, subscribe, let your friends know, send the link, put them on the wave, be that first, do the right thing. Do the right thing, right? So, Angelica, let the people know who you are and tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for having me here. I'm very excited. But yeah, so my name is Angelica Blake. I am in my 5th and final year at UTSC. I'm in the BBA program, studying management, specialist in marketing. And aside from my studies, I'm also co-leading our school's Black Student in Business School Association, so I'm the co-president. And yeah, outside of anything school related, my hobbies are I like to paint, I like to bake, and I also like to invest in all things self-care, whether it's skincare, hair care, anything under that umbrella.
So she got you with the tips. She's definitely going to let you know what's good. So tell us about the baking. What do you like baking?
I'm really interested, I don't know. To be fair, I really like to bake anything. I think I'm big on like cakes. I think one thing that I want to really narrow down would be Jamaican rum cake.
Jamaican rum cake. By the way, what's the background? What team you represented today?
So, my background, I'm Jamaica and St. Vincent.
Wow. So you definitely have the island vibe. But if you had to pick one to represent today, which one are you gonna pick?
I can't pick one. I can't pick one.
We don't want to get anyone upset today, right?
Yeah, I'm team both.
All right, so we got the two flags repping, and you said you like the Jamaican rum cake. That's something. So is that your go-to product that you like to make, or is there something that if there's a family event, they're like, you got this, you're gonna bake this?
Ooh. I think one of my go-tos are definitely cinnamon rolls, actually.
Cinnamon rolls?
Yeah, sometimes I like to switch it up and do different kinds. Like I've done like strawberry cinnamon rolls, pumpkin cinnamon rolls, blueberry cinnamon rolls, lemon cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
So that's definitely my go-to. In terms of the rum cake, I actually don't make I don't actually make it that much because I feel like rum cake is something that usually comes out during like the holidays. And that's not something, that's a big responsibility to take on. So I usually just leave it to the aunties.
Yeah.
Because I'm not messing up anyone's Christmas. But one day.
One day. All right, cool. So in terms of being a student, definitely taking the time out to be here today. Thank you. And I want to hear your perspective because being a student is like a full-time job. So what is that like from not trying to catch up on assignments and preparing for exam? You said you like baking, you say you like skincare, and you just like being yourself. What is something that somebody that knows you would know this is kind of things you like doing? What would you say that is?
I definitely think something that I've learned in my university career is that it's really important to sort of make time for those things, because it's really easy to get very consumed with, I have an assignment here, I have a test, I have a meeting, and I think even sometimes till this day, like I find that I don't have it in my schedule to really spend as much time as I'd like to doing what I want, but I definitely think it's really essential, and I think it also can cope with maybe preventing burnout or anything. It's really important to like invest in things that sort of like fulfill you in a sense. So I think with all of those things, I think it's very fulfilling and almost nourishing. It is, I think anything, I know when I talked about self-care, I was talking about like skincare, hair care, but I also think anything related to investing time in your hobbies, I think that is very healthy in many different ways. So I think anyone who knows me knows that I'm not there yet, but I'm really aspiring for the soft life. So I really
Hold on. Come, tell us, what do you mean by the soft life?
The soft life is basically, or my interpretation of it is basically a life where you're just not stressed out.
Yeah.
And whatever that means to you. So obviously there are stressors in everyone's lives, but you have to really not succumb to your circumstances.
You have to do better than that. You're gonna have to tell us, what does that soft life look like?
Okay.
What's a day in Angelica's soft life?
Okay. This may not be my everyday, but this is like, in the perfect world, this is where I'm leading to.
Yeah.
I would say, let me think. A soft life, a day in the soft life as a student, it would be waking up early, which may seem counterintuitive, but waking up early, starting my day, getting the tedious things that I may not want to do, like studies or lectures or work, getting those out of the way so that you can spend most of your day doing what you actually want. So I would love a day where it's like 1 p.m., I've done all my studying for the day, and now I have the rest of the day to myself. I think, let me think. This is a good question. What does a soft life look for me? I think, maybe not every day, but I think at least once a week or once a month, bare minimum. I think I'd love to do, like those treat yourself days where you're just doing everything, like you're doing like your nails, you're doing like a massage or like a facial, or you're going to the hairdresser, or anything under that umbrella. I definitely think the soft life requires you to sprinkle a few of those moments in your weeks just to help you de-stress and sort of just replenish.
Okay, and that makes sense, right? Why wouldn't you want to be able to pamper yourself, essentially? And you can only imagine what the everyday looks like if that's not what you're able to do now. I'm guessing school makes you wake up late because you're staying up all night.
Yeah, or you stay up all night and wake up early.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm not able to do that yet, but one day I will. But I think little ways that I'm still able to incorporate that time for myself is I do try to wake up early. I like to wake up before the day starts when I can, when I have the energy to. Because I think it's nice to have like a moment to yourself where you're just sort of, I think it's important to have like a morning routine, whatever that looks like for you. And I think it's funny because I'm reminding myself more and more of my grandmother, because she wakes up very early, and I didn't really get it. It was like, what's really there to do? But I get it now, and I think it's really nice to just wake up early. You have your little cup of coffee or a cup of tea. You have time to, for me, like do your skincare routine, like do your hair, pick out your outfit, and you're just able to have like a little breather before you have to get into whatever you have to do for the day. And I think that definitely has helped a lot with like balancing the different responsibilities that I have and not making it as overwhelming, because I've also been, especially as a student, like I've had some days where it's like you wake up and like you have like 20 minutes to leave the house, and then you're going right into a lecture. Sometimes it's back-to-back lectures, and then also with like my club, like oh, I have a meeting after, so it's just like you're on go all day. And in the long run, I think that can definitely wear you down a little. So I think it's important to just have little moments in your day, whether it's the beginning, end, or middle, where you're just able to have like some time for yourself and just have a breather. I think it's hard sometimes. It feels hard to have time, but it's something you have to just like make time for, because there's always something to do. But you should definitely make sure to schedule yourself in your planner.
Well, that makes sense. And that's what we're going to talk about, getting ready, because that's the specialty, right? So what does getting ready for you look like with your skincare routine?
Well, I think, so like it would kind of break into two categories. So there would be maybe like face skincare, and then there's also body care, but they're pretty similar all throughout. But I think whether it's washing my face or taking a shower, washing my body, I think after that, I'm really, especially now that we're in...
Wait, hold on. Oh. Washing your face, but you have to...
I know, I have to get the details.
So what's going on?
Okay, I'll start with face care. So a typical day for me, so I'll wash my face. I use a CeraVe cleanser currently. And then after I'm done with that...
You wash it in the shower or outside the shower?
I'm outside of the shower person.
Outside? Why outside the shower?
I don't know, because I understand why people don't like it, and I get it.
Tell us why people don't like it.
I think it's easier to do it in the shower because it's easier, and I also don't like washing my face in the sink, because I hate when there's like water dripping down my elbows. It's so much. But I think when I wash my face, I do wash it in cooler water, and I take very warm I take very hot showers, like steaming hot, almost bad. Like I take very hot showers, and I just am not willing to give up like 30 seconds to be cold and wash my face with the cold water in the shower. Yeah. So I just like to have my hot shower and then separately do my cool rinsed face wash.
Okay, makes sense. So you want to wash your face with cold water.
Yeah, I do that.
Okay, so CeraVe, you said?
Yeah, CeraVe.
Okay.
And then after I wash my face, I typically, at this point, I really have adopted a less is more approach to my skincare routine. So currently my skincare routine is pretty basic. After I wash my face, I moisturize. Sometimes I'll apply a serum before moisturizing.
And when you say wash your face, you mean cleanse?
Yeah, sorry, with a cleanser. So I will cleanse my face, and then once I'm done rinsing everything off, I will apply a serum in a lot of cases, and then moisturize. And I think if I'm going to bed, then I might also use like an oil or something, oil or a serum. I usually substitute either or, and then go to bed. But if I'm going outside, I will also apply sunscreen.
Okay, cool. So pretty simple. Cleanse, serum or oil, moisturizer. Mm-hmm. All right. So talk to us about the serum or oil. What do you use typically?
Typically, I use, it really does vary, but as of recently, I've definitely been more of like natural oils, raw oils. So I think currently I've actually been using almond oil. So that has been what I've been using. And then I usually do that before or after moisturizing. And I think it's more so, especially now that we're getting into colder weather here in Canada, my skin tends to get pretty dry in general, I think. And I think the weather definitely emphasizes it. So I think it's really important for me to make sure my skin is really nourished and replenished with oils that they have antioxidants or they have anti-inflammatory properties. So that is what I do.
Okay. So oil is pretty natural, almond oil. You know, studies say that if people use almond oil, they're more likely to use an almond body moisturizer. Have you ever heard that?
I have not heard that study, but that does make sense.
Since we have an almond body moisturizer, we're gonna get into it, right? So, okay, cool. So, body moisturizer. What do you use for your body moisturizer?
So for my body moisturizer, I tend to use a sort of a combination of just a regular like Walmart brand lotion I'm trying to think. It's really different. It's very different, but in general, it's usually just like a regular generic brand lotion as well as like maybe coconut oil.
Okay. So how much are you spending on your face routine?
As a student, it's not that much. So that's definitely something that I do factor in when it comes to the decisions of my skincare. That could also be maybe why I'm doing less is more because it can be very expensive. So I typically for a product, if it's anything more than, size does matter as well of how much I'm getting out of the package, like how much the package is holding of the product. But for like the general size of what many skincare products have, I usually will, if it's over $25, it's not necessarily not worth it, but I would just have to make sure that what it's actually offering me something that's really valuable and of course most importantly healthy to my skin. So
okay, so in terms of, you're saying, okay, we're looking at skincare, face routine, we're looking at how much you're spending. If it's over $25 currently, it's kind of like you're pushing it. Well, how much do you think you should be spending on your face routine?
I think for me, because
Soft life.
that's true, soft life. How much do I think I should be spending? I want to say more, but I think sometimes, I want to say more, but I think sometimes, especially with the cosmetic industry, they make you feel like spending more will equate to better results. So I'm kind of in between. I think you definitely should, when it comes to your health and wellness, I don't think that's necessarily something you should be cheap on. But I do think in some products, there are cheaper alternatives that do just as much, if not better. Or maybe not necessarily cheaper in terms of monetary value, but just maybe more simplified ingredients that maybe the cosmetic industry wants us to feel aren't as good of an approach as their like $400 serums. So I'm kind of in between. I think you definitely, if it's something, depending on your skin type, if you're having any sort of rash, irritation, I definitely think your health in general, whether it's your face, body, hair, I think you definitely should be willing to, if you're going to splurge on anything, it should be on your health. So I'm definitely not against splurging for skincare or anything related to that, as long as it's
beneficial.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Have you had any skin conditions that in the past it was like a moment for you to remember, like you can't forget that one time you went to school and your skin was like, oh my God, right? Is there any moments like that for you?
I think when I was younger, in my teenage years, I did suffer from acne a little bit. It wasn't anything extreme, but I think I always had at least like one pimple on my face. And I think, and that went away on its own. I think it was more in my puberty years, but I think that was sort of what had birthed my interest in skincare, because I really wanted to know what I could do. Of course, there are internal factors like, hormonal balances that fluctuate during puberty as well, but there's also other factors in terms of like what you're putting on your face, what you're putting in your body. So I just became very interested in the concept as a whole. And I think, especially in the age of social media, I think that's definitely what had influeed a lot of my consumer decisions in terms of skincare products. And when I earlier said I adopted more of a less is more approach, it was because when I was consuming all of this content from these influencers, YouTubers who like aren't even doctors or anything about what they were using, they would have like 10 things in their skincare routine. They'd be like, okay, I'm going to use this cleanser, this exfoliant, this serum, this moisturizer, another serum, all of this. And I think it's really easy, especially when you're young and you're very impressionable, to be like, okay, so this worked for them, so it's going to work for me. So I remember when I was younger, I would like walk out of Sephora spending like hundreds of dollars on all of these things.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where's the money coming from?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't have as many expenses back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would spend all of this money on all of these products, and it wasn't really doing, and not that the products were bad at all, and I think those products did have some good ingredients that definitely could help someone, but I don't think it was necessarily addressing the problem that I have. And it wasn't necessarily making my skin worse, but it wasn't necessarily making my skin better either. So I was kind of like, okay, so I'm spending all this money, but for what? And then as I got older and I had to be more smarter with what I was spending my money on, I realized, okay, like let me just kind of start from scratch and just have a very simple basic skincare routine, and then just add on to it when needed. So eventually my skincare routine kind of narrowed down to pretty much what it is now, just like, you know, decent cleanser, moisturizer, serum or oil if needed, sunscreen. And then I realized that my skin had improved drastically, as well as other things I was also doing in terms of like my diet, hydration, all of that. But I did see like improvement in my skin, and I realized like, oh, I'm not even spending like $300 on all these products, and I'm still able to get that result. So I think that definitely changed my perspective of what it takes to sort of have, you know, clear skin or a healthy body, inside and out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. What would you say, like, where did you find yourself starting to be interested in skincare? I think because I was very online, I guess I still am kind of, just in social media. I think I'm very also interested in makeup. At what age? You have to bring us to that age.
I'm gonna say around 15. That's when I kind of started to take an interest in doing makeup. And what they say, and which I do think is true, is that your makeup, in terms of how it will come out, like the final product of it, it's only as good as your skincare, because you're applying your makeup to your skin. So if your skin is very like dehydrated, or maybe you have like acne or things like that is going to affect like how the makeup is gonna lay on your face. So it was sort of, I think, as I was interested in makeup, and I always do my makeup, I think it's just like a fun way to just like spark, I don't know, just like add some je ne sais quoi to your day.
Yeah.
So I think, that was something I took an interest in. I don't do my makeup every day, but every once in a while, like today, I do. So even when I was watching a lot of like makeup tutorials when I was first starting to do my makeup, all of the influencers or beauty gurus that I was watching, like before they even started applying their makeup, they would be like, okay, like I'm gonna prep my skin first. So that in itself was kind of like the first introduction to the topic of skincare, because when they do their skin prep, they'd be okay, I'm gonna wash my face and then I'm gonna moisturize, I'm gonna like apply like a primer or something like that, just so that my skin is nice and prepped, so that when I'm applying my foundation, my concealer, my powder or whatever, it has like a nice foundation for the makeup to stick on. Mm-hmm. So I think even in terms of my makeup, I found that when my skin is hydrated, my skin is moisturized, like my makeup comes out like a lot better than if I just get out of bed and I just start applying makeup just like that. So I think also in that sense, that's also something that incentivized me to invest in having a good skincare. Okay.
So what made you want to figure that out? Because you would have to, is that something you came across scrolling on social media, or is it like you actively like look this up? Or is it like a friend said, hey, check this out, this looks pretty cool?
I think it was I I always took an interest to it. I was probably, honestly, like when I was young, just scrolling through social media and I seen like, wow, like I really like oh, I'm seeing like all these beautiful women and like, wow, they have such nice skin, or wow, like I really like how they're doing their makeup. So I think it definitely was the people that I was following on social media, and as a lot of them were also women, a lot of them were like beauty gurus or anything in that category. So I think it was just me taking interest to them that sort of got me interested in learning more about it. And then I also think at this age, it's also important because I think as a business student especially, there are a lot of opportunities that I'm at, like different engagements that I'm at, and I do think that how you present yourself really does play a big part in how you're perceived by others. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean you need to come with a full face of makeup or like a really great hairdo, but I think that your appearance, not necessarily makeup, again, it could just be, the health of your skin, the health of your body, that does sort of reflect to others, maybe like how you take care of yourself and things like that. So I think as I'm in different doors, like meeting new people, I do want to put on a good display of myself, and I want to present myself in a respectable way. And I think that like taking the time to make sure that I'm doing well, like inside and out, is a good reflection that, I do respect myself. I do care about how I'm presenting myself, what I'm putting in my body, and I think that's definitely a respectable thing to see in someone.
Well, listen, you're saying all this, and I'm like, mine's gone, because it's like at 15, you'd say you're thinking about these things, right? How do I look in today's society? How do people see me? So you're taking an active initiative to have that appearance be you representing the best version of yourself, the best that you can. So it wasn't necessarily, I would say, something that you thought was cool and you wanted to do, but it was like, oh, this makes sense. I need to pay attention to this so that I can figure out how to show who I am to my liking, the best way to represent myself the best way possible. Then you start to get a little bit more interested, and you're like, okay, well, these people maybe look like how I want to represent myself, or how I want myself to look.
Yeah.
Let me see what they're doing. You start paying attention to how they go about their routine, and then you're like, okay, I could try that to see if it worked, but it wasn't necessarily that you have an issue with your skin. You're just trying to look like that, essentially. And then over time, when you realize the money isn't there anymore, you're just like, okay, let me try to work with what I can afford to work with, and then maybe I can have a little bit more fun when I'm having that soft life.
Exactly.
Right? When I'm getting close to that soft life, I can try to like explore that beauty realm to represent myself the way that I really want to represent, but not the way I have to based on my budget currently. So that makes a lot of sense. In terms of, all right, the choice selection, when you were younger, was there a difference in the products that you were using when you were younger as opposed to now?
Yeah, I think in terms of my product selection, I think when I was younger and more impressionable, I really was trusting a bit too much the opinions of just like public figures and celebrities or influencers who in reality probably are just getting paid to, promote the product, but I was really trusting what they were saying. And it's not that the products that I did use, I don't think any of them were really bad, except one I did think was bad, but
talk about it. What happened?
This actually didn't come from an influencer. I think this was like commercials, but there's this face scrub. It's by St. Ives, and it's the apricot face scrub. And that was very popular around back in the day, and I felt like that was something that was in everyone's like pantry. But that is not good for your skin. I didn't know, and I used it so heavily, and I thought it was so good because it was very abrasive, because the scrub in itself, it's made out of like crushed walnut shells. And usually when you have a face scrub. There's like little beads to like exfoliate the skin, but they break down with water. But because it's like a nutshell, it doesn't break down ever. So it's like you're sort of just really abrasively just like rubbing these little things on your skin, and it causes like micro tears. And I didn't realize it, and because thankfully my skin was able to be a bit durable, I didn't have any damage, but that in itself was not a good product. But because I saw so many people using it, and it was so promoted on like in stores, on commercials, I really trusted that product a lot. But in terms of my product selection, I think when I was younger, I was really just doing what I saw people doing, like, oh, this person has nice skin and they're using this product, so that means it's going to work for me. And that's not necessarily going to be the case. So I think as I got older and I just realized like what works for my skin, what irritates my skin, I just sort of started to pay attention to the ingredients that, you know, my skin thrives with versus doesn't do well with versus or is kind of neutral with. So I think now I do like to actually do research on the product itself rather than just blindly trusting a random person saying it. Yeah. So I definitely think my approach now is to definitely do some research on the product, the ingredients. Like if you know, like for example, something has tea tree oil, I can be like, okay, I know tea tree oil is really beneficial in this area, or almond oil, avocado oil, whatever it is. So I think my approach now is definitely just to understand what I'm actually using and sort of doing my research myself with like actual like medically reviewed studies, just to make sure that I'm actually doing something that's actually beneficial.
I'm telling you, that's pretty cool, right? That's really cool, because that's not something that I would say the older generation might necessarily do. It's a different perspective on that. In terms of, you said, like, was there, when we talk about the first skincare product that you have ever used, is that something that came through your family? And then it's like, this is what my mom or dad has been using on me, so this is what I grew up seeing, this is what I continue using. Like, was that similar for you?
There were some products. For one thing that comes to mind would be African black soap. Like that is definitely something that my family has advocated for, and it's definitely a great product. It's very cleansing. It wouldn't work for my skin because, as I mentioned, my skin can get very dry sometimes, and raw African black soap is very cleansing to the point where it can really like clean too much and like kind of strip my face of like those like raw oils. So I felt like some people I know like use it every day, and I'm like, this I can't. This is not gonna work for me. So I think it's a good product in itself, but it doesn't necessarily work well for me. So I think even when it comes to like products or ingredients that my family is really advocating for, I had to sort of just learn to have like my own sense of discernment, because even though something works really well for them, it may not work well for me. So I just had to sort of do the research or even test it out myself and see like, okay, I tried it, it's not really working. Yeah. And just kind of trust my own judgment.
So at what point did you switch from the traditional products in the household to getting your own?
I think probably once I started making my own money. So when I had the autonomy to make my own choices. So I think I got a job, I've been working since I was 16. So I think, and I also worked at a grocery store. So I had access to like everything at that time. So I felt like I really was in control of what I wanted to buy. So whenever I know, like when I got paid, I would take a walk to like the beauty aisle, treat myself to some of the skincare products. So I think around that time is when I sort of, and that was also around, once I had my own money, that's when everything started changing, because I no longer relied on my family for like buying things. I was in control of what I was doing as a consumer. So, and I also think that tied in with my social media use and like my following of these different like influencers, beauty gurus as well. So I think around that time was when I started taking my own approach to what I should be using, or what I thought I should be using.
Okay, and that's a little bit based on what you see in what on commercial, We got a question from the live.
Yeah, she asked, the change of seasons can make your skin drier or more oily.
Yeah, so that's a question or is it a statement?
A question, drier or more oily?
Well, let's ask. Based on
Ugh.
Angelica, based on the seasons, does your skin get more dry or more oily?
I think I think I have a bit of combination skin. So sometimes like some parts of my skin, especially my face, are more dry and some parts are more oily. I think in regular weather or any time aside from winter, my skin is pretty normal. I think in terms of my face, I have some oily spots. And I think in terms of like the rest of my body, I do think it is more on the drier side. When I was younger, I used to suffer from eczema. So I think usually it is more on the drier side, but it's pretty normal. I'm able to combat that with just like my regular regimen. But I think in winter, I have to take some extra precautions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who was the user that made that comment?
No, I'm not sure whether I can.
All right, shout out to you. If you can, definitely send us a DM. We'll put you into the video and say big up for that question and thanks for supporting. Thanks for paying attention and this is definitely an honor to have you participate in this moment, right? So, all right, cool. You got your money. Time to spend your money. Start to see different things that's there, and now you're just trying things that you finally get to try something new
Yeah.
and see what you like as opposed to what you don't like.
Yeah, she has another question.
Yeah?
She asked, do you check the PA life on a packaging of a product?
If you check the Pure Life,
Yeah, PA life. Do you check the PA life?
the PA,
Yeah, PA.
what's PA like?
I'm not too sure. Maybe it's something I need to. Maybe it's something I'll look into.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure what the PA life is. Maybe that's something I do need to look into. I think.
Maybe you could clarify what exactly is that PA Life?
Shelf life of a product.
Okay, the shelf
okay.
life. Do you check the shelf life of a product when you
I
get it?
do. I actually do. I think this is also something in my family where I like having products for forever until they're like done. And I think especially when it comes with skincare, it's really important to look at like the expiration dates on things, because even for skincare and makeup, there are some products that you never really think about it, and then you look and they say they have a shelf life of like 3 months, and you've had it for like 2 years, and you're like, oh. So I definitely think that is something that I have grown to take into consideration, and I think that also does impact the size of the product when I do purchase it. Like if I have example, like if I'm buying like a moisturizer and I know that I'm like the size that it comes in is probably gonna last me for like 6 months, but the shelf life is 3 months, then I'll maybe get like the smaller one just to like be in line with
Yeah.
the shelf life, because sometimes when you go past that recommended period, some of the like ingredients of the product may not work the way they're supposed to. So I definitely do think that is something that a lot of people do overlook, but that's something that is necessary and beneficial to take into consideration.
Okay. So, all right. We understand that you're starting to spend and explore products. So now, what is one advice that you'd give your 16-year-old version of yourself today?
I would tell my 16-year-old self, less is more. You don't necessarily need to have 12 things in your regimen for it to be productive. You don't need to spend your entire paycheck to find a collection of products to make a routine that will work for you. And also start looking at science. Like if you are going to look for the internet for any resources or advice, I think that's great. The internet has tons of information that's free and open access to us, but I definitely think just be more conscious of, the information you're consuming and sort of like who's publishing it. And I think if you're going to take anyone's advice, maybe try to do it. Maybe have it be a professional, a medical professional. And yeah, don't necessarily follow what Jessica on Instagram is doing and think it's going to be the exact same for you.
Okay. So let's dive a little bit back more into the moisturizer now. So what moisturizer do you currently use?
I'm currently using a Cetaphil moisturizer. I don't quite remember what exactly it is, but it's a very basic moisturizer. Has very simple ingredients, just doing the bare minimum, and then I usually pair that with like the serum or oil. So that's usually what I do.
And how long you been using that for now?
I've been using that for around 6 months.
6 months?
Yes.
So it's new?
It's pretty new.
So what were you using before?
I was also using a moisturizer. I think I was using a CeraVe moisturizer, but it was the same kind of, I usually have the same approach to the moisturizer of just very basic, bare minimum,
Okay.
nothing crazy.
So it sounds like you're still looking for that moisturizer to
I'm
stick with.
open to explore different
That
options.
almond moisturizer?
Maybe, because I do use almond oil, so maybe I wouldn't need to do that extra step if it was just
Yeah.
in one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna talk about Norm.
Okay.
Because that's what we're here to talk about, right? To get the fans knowing a little bit more about what's going on. And this is the first time. I'm not sure if you've seen this product before. Have you seen this product before?
I've seen it before, but I never used it.
Okay. All right. So tell me, what do you think about how it looks like? If you were 16 and you're going into a store, you saw that on the shelf, would that capture your attention?
It would. I really do like the packaging. I think it definitely communicates that the product is more like natural, and like I'm thinking about like from a branding perspective, it's very clean and natural. So I think this would definitely entice me because it definitely looks like it's something that's clean and good for your skin. So I like the packaging. It's very like, it definitely aligns with a soft life, I think. It's very like, this is my moisturizer.
Okay. Cool. I know what we're gonna do is give you an opportunity to dive in it.
Okay.
So the good thing about Norm, as you said, it goes a long way. A little is more, right?
Okay.
So let's see what's good. So this can moisturize both your hands.
Really?
Let's find out. You tell me.
Okay. Wow. Oh, I like the scent.
Yeah. What do you think?
I like it. It's not too thick, but it also feels actually nourishing. So I definitely think in the winter especially, it would be nice to just be able to apply a little bit.
Yeah. So how would you describe that product to all the viewers right now that have never tried that? What would you tell them?
Kind of like I just said, it's not too thick. It's thin, but a little goes a long way, which I think is a very great thing. It doesn't have a strong fragrance, which is really good for some people who may be sensitive to that. And it feels very clean in terms of like what could be in it. I think this could be a really good option for anyone who maybe has sensitive skin, who may be hesitant to try different products. I think I would definitely recommend to give this a try.
Okay, well, here we go. That is your product. That's your gift for today.
Thank you.
And one of the main things about that product is that it's only 3 ingredients: almonds, hazelnut, and lead sea essential oil. Have you ever seen a body moisturizer that's only 3 ingredients?
No, you do not come across those often at all.
Yeah. So the main reason why Norm exists is because the cosmetic industry is self-regulated. We understand that some of the products that people use may be harmful to them because they don't look at the ingredients, they don't pay attention to what they're using. So we want to provide products so that we can take care of that for you and put that pressure on the cosmetic industry to create better products that customers can have better options to pick. So, looking at that product, where would you try to use it?
would I try to use it? For one, I would definitely keep this just in my bag. I would have multiple. So I would have one in my bag because I always have a little pouch that I have where it just has all the essentials, like my lip balm, a moisturizer, some cream, like anything, just in case, especially when you're out and about. Again, in winter, as a black person, sometimes the ash can just creep up on you. So I definitely would have one of these just with me everywhere I go. I definitely would be open, especially because there's only 3 ingredients. I would definitely be open to trying to see how that would fit in my skincare routine for my face. I'm not really that, usually when it comes to putting a new product into a routine, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know like how it's gonna react with my skin, and have to do like a patch test. But because there's only 3 ingredients, I really don't have much hesitation that it will irritate my skin or anything like that. And then same for my body as well. So.
Okay. So in terms of how much do you think that would cost?
Oh, I do not know. Like the size?
Yeah.
I don't even know. Maybe 15?
Okay. And how much do you feel like you would feel comfortable spending on it?
I feel like I would be, especially because it's natural, and like I said earlier, I'm willing to splurge if I know it's something that's beneficial to like my health and my body and my skin. So I could spend like 15 to 20.
Okay. All right. Well, your intuition is on point because it is $15
Really?
for that small one.
Really?
Right. And we do have a bigger size, which is 100 ml. And we're planning to get another bigger size for those that just want to dive right in it. But the whole point is that little goes a long way.
It does.
That small one can last you as long as you stretch it out, whether you want to keep that on the go and just top up on some areas that probably get dry more often than others. Some of our customers with eczema or in a dry skin condition tend to use that product because it says it helps them out with that as well. Whether you want to use that on your face, your body, your foot, your knee, wherever works for you. That's where we're branding it as a general use product, a go-to product. But yeah, any final feedback about that product that you think is pretty cool and you would want to let people know about it?
I really love the packaging. I keep I keep talking about it, but I do love the packaging, and I think it definitely really encapsulates like the brand. And I definitely would recommend this for anyone who's looking for different skincare options. I was actually talking to one of my friends yesterday, and she was talking about she's looking for like a new regimen. Like she's kind of like not feeling the products that she's using anymore. So I'll definitely
put her on.
Yeah.
You're gonna set that trend, right?
Yeah.
So just before we close out, is there any advice that you might have for anyone watching right now that might have any challenges with their skincare routine or just skincare in general? Is there anything that you think, any gems that you have found that changed the way that you go about your routine currently?
I think definitely start simple. I think it'd be good to start with natural ingredients. I don't think there's anything wrong with products that are maybe that the dermatologist recommend. But I don't think there's anything wrong with the high-level products. But I think if you're just in the process of figuring out what works for you, definitely start small. And when it comes to the products that you're using, I keep saying less is more, but I wish someone would have told me, so I'm gonna keep reiterating that. I think definitely start off with more simplified ingredients, because sometimes it really does have a bigger effect than when you're overloading your skin with all of these different ingredients that are having so many different effects on your skin, all happening simultaneously. So I would definitely say just narrow down and see what works for you and what doesn't.
Okay. And one quick question. When we're thinking about the brand Norm, 10 years from now, what does that look like to you?
Oh, I would love, like just hearing about everything that we've been talking about, I definitely would love to see maybe the brand expand into maybe hair care. because I feel like everything I talked about in terms of skincare is, I have the exact same thing, but for hair as well, especially for like natural black hair. I think in the hair care industry, a lot of the products that you see aren't really formulated for us. We're not really the target consumer. And I think that in itself has made like the natural hair care industry kind of all over the place, and you know, people spending all of this money for products that maybe aren't even that beneficial to their hair. And again, I think for my hair also, I also have adopted a less is more approach, so I definitely would be interested in like a raw, very like simple ingredient product for my hair care as well.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in, letting us know what's good. Do we have any more comments on the live team?
Yeah, our viewer who asked questions before, she mentioned that it's really the in a way, for my opinion, of viewing this product subtitle substitutes a lot of products in a skincare routine.
Yeah. So she's saying, this person is saying this product would substitute a lot of products in our skincare routine.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. You just definitely have to give it a try and hope to minimize the amount of products that you use, because sometimes we use a lot of products that do the same thing,
Exactly.
but it's just a different brand name, right?
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to that person that's been crazily engaging with us today. We love it. You know, if you like the information, like, subscribe, share the information, comment, let us know who you'd want to see, let us know a topic that you'd like us to cover. But more importantly, thank you for being here with us this long, and stay tuned for the next episode.
Yes, thank you for having me.